Hello, everyone, and welcome to FoundAStory. This is the place where we embrace our real, raw, and radical true stories of founders who have dared to be different, founders who have embraced their hills and valleys, founders who are willing to share their failures as well as their victories. We're not here to paint any pictures, as some of you may know. It's all about making sure that we tell the truth about our story. And that's what really inspires change, I reckon. People don't necessarily rock up to a movie to see and watch a character go through nothing but, smooth sailing. They go because they want to know how this person goes from zero to hero. And that's what life is all about. It's about telling our truth. And, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, here's a quick introduction to the show. We've gone through about 16 episodes. Sorry, this is the 16th episode now of FoundAStory. And we've got two amazing guests who are about to go live with us, who are both people who've journeyed together in life all the way from their school years, but have really started soaring through the last 2 years. And I want to really share their FoundAStory with you. I just want to say a quick hello to a couple of people who've started tuning in already. Samuel, big hello, my friend. I think we've got Sorryful, who's also here. We've got Wanis, who's also here. Raymond White, hello, my friend. Zarima Abdul Rahim, so good to have you join us. Thank you. Of course, it's good to have people say hello, because you just never know from which part of the country, which country they're tuning in from. So if you guys can pop in, which country you're tuning in from, what your favorite food is, that would be amazing. So on that note, my friends, I would love to introduce you to our first guest here on FoundAStory today. And he is none other than Tim OSullivan.
Good evening.
Tim,
how you going?
Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
No, thank you. I'm pumped. It's going to be good fun. So I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Tim is the co-founder of Bae Juice. He is the hospitality geek and authenticity king, and a massive risk taker, as you will see from his story as well, along with his business partner, who I'm about to introduce you to, the big, amazing man himself, Liam. Liam, so good to have you join us.
How are we? I feel like I'm ready for a boxing match after that introduction.
Yeah,
like you'd be good ringside,
good.
I reckon. Yeah. Just come out my cloak and my gloves on.
That was good. Really good.
Well, I chickened out to pronounce your last name, my friend.
Come on. Give it a go.
Give it a go. Out. Can you please? So wait. Let me give this a go. Right?
Yes.
So it's. Gosh, shoot. Okay, so it's Gostenchnik.
That's correct. Well done. Well, it's a tricky one, and I'll hate my father to the day I die for giving me that name, but it's all right.
No, that's all right. Don't say that about your dad. It's all right. You can see my maiden name before I got the beautiful margarita.
Sounds like a cocktail.
Go there, trust me. Yeah, it was a massive cocktail. Typical South Indian last name with, my first three names are typical sort of Anglo-Saxon type of Russian.
Didn't leave any letters for anyone else.
And then a random typical South Indian name. Anyway, sorry. I digress from the show, but it's so good to have both of you here, and I can already tell that it's going to be quite a blast. I think we've got people tuning in from all over the world. We've got Zarima tuning in from Malaysia. We've got Samuel tuning in from India. We've got Saifullah tuning in from Nigeria. So good to have you guys join us. Oh my goodness. I love it when this happens, right? People from all over the world. That's the beauty of LinkedIn, that we're able to, go live with people from all over the world, right? So
Correct.
on that amazing note, let's kick this off by asking the all-important question to maybe you, Tim. What do you feel is the most difficult thing about sharing your story? It terrifies most people, and I know that both of you have clearly been on a journey yourselves. So tell me, what do you think is the biggest challenge, and how did you overcome it?
I think some people definitely fear the failure. I think speaking for both of us, we sort of relish in it, and it's almost enjoyable because we learn from it faster. And I think that's been the pure madness of our last 2 years, is failing and then quickly learning and then realizing we're actually now quite good at something. So that's been our sort of mantra so far. But I definitely think people fear the failure. I think it is to come out your comfort zone, to talk about your past, whether it was school or something you weren't good at, or just your background, or people don't like talking about money. You know, we're quite comfortable talking about some of the sacrifices we've had to make, or some of the financial losses we've had. And for us, it's very easy to talk about, but you're totally right. Some people really, really struggle to. And I guess never having been on that side of the fence, I can't speak for them, but I think when you're talking about business and your journey, it is quite personal. So it does take that extra inch of personality, I think, to be comfortable to talk about it, but not just talk about it, but sort of promote some of your journey. So then other people listening that aren't good at speaking about their journey can get inspired or learn from people that, you know, we might have a cool business and it's going great, but we make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
We definitely argue with each other. And we have no money, so there's not much. So, you know, that's pretty much all of it in a nutshell.
Well, thank you for being brutally honest there. I think a lot of people would appreciate that, especially those that can somewhat relate. And, you know, we've all been there. We've all been at a point where we had challenges that we had to face up front, look ourselves in the mirror and go, do you know what? If anyone's going to believe in myself, it's got to be me. You know, I've got to believe in myself. I've got to believe in what I've been through. Surely it's worth something. So on that note, Liam, what was your biggest challenge that you went through, you know, when it came to sharing your story?
I want to go off on a limb and said, like, I've never really had too much trouble with sharing it, because I suppose we saw that people, you know, really engaged when we were honest and open about it. But I suppose it's like Tim said, it's the fear of failure, and then it's, you know, sharing the stuff that, you know, might be perceived to yourself to be embarrassing and you know, not worth sharing. I think that's the other thing. Like, you know, people don't want to see you, you know, tooting your own horn and saying how good you are every time. You know, they want to understand that, you know, running a business, it's not glitz and glam, and, you know, there's some harsh truths and some really tough realities that you have to face. And, you know, if you share those, you know, and then people sort of see how tough you've done it, or what you've had to sacrifice, or the ups and downs you've had, then when you have the victories, they're going to, you know, get around you, pat you on the back. And that's what we found.
Amazing. You know, like those are the kinds of honest answers that we really need to hear on the show, because I think a lot of people sometimes just sort of like to paint a pretty picture that, you know, it was all smooth sailing and everything was fine. You know, I just got here because I walked in the bed of roses, and that doesn't inspire anyone. So that, you know, here on the show we go through the truth and nothing but the truth. So on that note, I think it's about time we start diving into your story. So over back to you, I guess, Tim. You know, this quote really gets me every time. You don't have to fear your own company being perceived as human. You want it. People don't trust companies, they trust people. And that in itself is powerful. So let's take us back to your childhood, a memory that has sort of really challenged you and impacted you, even when you run your business today, even when you run Bae Juice to get it to be successful today. What's that one memory that you lean on, whether it was good or bad, but it impacted you? What would that be?
I think when I didn't have much of a path or a calling, it was quite confronting. I didn't let it stress me out too much, and it's something I definitely promote a lot, and I never put too much pressure on myself with exams or high school or going to university or anything like that, I was quite free-spirited. But I guess it got to a point where, you know, you go out most weekends, you're not doing much, you're not very accountable, you're living at home, you don't have much of a paycheck. And it got to sort of the ripe age of like 23, 24, where I sort of said to myself, it's time to snap out of it. And I actually knew in myself I was quite smart. I knew I was clever. I didn't have a great resume. I didn't have any degrees. But I think it got to a stage where I was going out every weekend. I was a bit wild and I didn't really have much calling or path. But I guess it wasn't a real big moment that snapped me out of it. But I think for me, it was when I was given a moment, and that was to become an owner in a cafe and to help run the cafe. Which ended up being, you know, learning skills to help run and learn about Bae Juice. For me, when I was finally given the opportunity, it was just crucial that I took it. I think there's just too many weekends, and for a couple of years, you know, I just felt like, you know, it's time to grow up, essentially. So then when I finally had the opportunity and when I finally started believing in myself and gained some confidence, and I realized I was quite good at business. I learned from my dad, and I think Liam as well. You know, we've been friends since 2005 and we always bounced ideas off each other. We just never really followed through with any or committed to any. We were quite chill and blasé and whatever. You know, we didn't care. You know, we were 22, 23 on the couch on a weekday. It was pretty cruisy. So I think it just got to that stage where I was like, right, it's time for us to snap out of it and really sort of knuckle down. And I think the minute we were both given an opportunity, we just completely took it, and we haven't looked back since, really.
That is amazing to hear, the truth behind, you know, I guess what's led you all the way up to this point. So if we could go back into your childhood now, there's common ground between the two of us, team. I promise I'll come to you, Liam, in just a moment. But I feel like there's more to unpack here. I feel like there's more to unpack here. There's common ground between the two of us, team, where, you know, we both hated school. And for everyone who's watching, okay, who either hated school or potentially didn't do very well at academics, or, you know, for everyone watching who still sort of got that little chip on their shoulder, or maybe something that's niggling at them that, you know, that's still bothering them today as adults. What's that memory that you remember that strongly advises you today, that helps you sort of overcome some of the things that come back and sort of remind you of what you went through in school?
Yeah, so for me, I was actually expelled in year 10. So in 2010, I was at quite an exclusive school, Xavier College in Kew. I went on a ski trip, and you know, this isn't a great thing to paint to my name just here, Tim O'Sullivan or there. But I went on a ski trip. We went to New Zealand. We were on the slopes, and me and lots of my friends actually stole lots of things from the local stores, whether it was jackets or beanies or whatever it was. And we actually got caught 2 days later because they recognized us and they saw what we were doing. And whilst it was fine getting in trouble, you know, the police were involved. They didn't blacklist our name or anything like that on our visas or anything, which is very lucky. But when we came back to school, when we came back to Melbourne, you know, we were greeted at the airport by my parents, but also a little bit of media, the principal. And before you knew it, it was Channel 9, 6 o'clock news, and Peter Hitchener. So that's our, for overseas viewers, that's our main news channel, was talking about 16-year-old boys at an exclusive private school going on a shoplifting spree, and we were all kicked out of our school, essentially. So it was me and 3 others. We were expelled. It was chaotic. I lost lots of friends. My family were disappointed in me. It didn't look good for me. It didn't look good for my parents. So it was pretty challenging. And then, ironically, no school would take me because it was halfway through a year and everyone was sort of capped or whatever the circumstances were. But no school would take me. Some of the worst schools in the area said, sorry, we just can't take you. We're full. So
that's crazy. Yeah.
It was scary. And yeah.
So I guess when you look back on memories like that, because for me, I failed math in my 12th grade, and I know what I can kind of relate. I mean, I didn't get sort of splashed all over the news for you know, for all the reasons you just stated. But I did fail math, and I know what it's like to sort of have your world pass you by. and feel like as you can't get into university, because I couldn't get into university for the longest time, and I sort of felt like I was going to fall back a year, and it was the most embarrassing moment of my life. Where it's just like chaos, because you start. I mean, for me, my worst choice in school was that I chose all the wrong subjects. I'm a creative person. I'm a communications person. I went and chose math, physics, chemistry, and biology. So if anyone can relate, I feel you. I feel you, boo. So I guess I can relate a lot to what you're saying. So if you reflect on those memories, you have a good laugh about it now. But what did it teach you?
I think now specifically, it taught me that I'm enjoying proving a lot of people wrong. And even after I was expelled and at my new school, it didn't mean I went in there very well behaved. I continued to maybe misbehave in some sense. And then after I finished school, you realize trying to be cool at school isn't cool, and everyone leaves school. So I was like, okay, so you sort of bring down your group of friends and you start finding work. And I don't know, it was quite a strange feeling. But what I've got out of it is I'm really enjoying proving people wrong. I don't like the title, but it's nice to know that I had that title, and it's sort of behind me. And now, I own a couple of businesses. I have a great partner. I'm trying to share my journey to help others. So I think those experiences have helped me to be able to sit here today and give some advice to people, will be real. And to be honest, they've probably given me a bit more tougher skin, which has helped with business, which has helped with the relationships. So it was quite challenging, but I'm enjoying proving people wrong. And like I said earlier in the piece, we always learn from our mistakes, and it's sort of something we pride ourselves on. So yeah, it's definitely in the past now. Not an amazing title, but yeah.
That's amazing. No, Tim, I want to commend you for sharing that seriously, because that's a great lesson to take out of it. That you've come back and you've shown the world that even though you may have a bad rap from when you were a kid, that you can come back fighting, and show the world that you're made of better stuff, and you are coming back to do good for so many people by sharing your story as well. So on that fruitful note, Liam, over to you, my friend. Thank you for, I guess, embracing your business partner's story here, and also your own on the show. Take us back to that time as a child, when you experienced first heartbreak, because you and I have something very much in common that I didn't tell you before the show. And I love this. I find so much common ground with my guests, with my own life. And that's the beauty of storytelling, right? There's so much common ground. So, there's heartbreak in your own story. And how does that sort of add a sense of resilience in what you do today?
You're talking about my, as in how my family split up, essentially. Well, yeah, I don't know. I was a bit immature. I didn't really understand it. All I just know is that I knew at the time was I was going to be living 4 days with mum and 4 days with dad, and quite quickly that just became the norm, and then I suppose the attrition rate for marriage is almost 60% in Australia at the moment. So to find someone whose parents are still together, like Tim's parents are, that's bizarre in itself, So I suppose you hold some grudges, and there's a part, and there's a bitterness maybe towards my father about it, but it's I suppose if you take a step back and you just say, well, he was unhappy in this situation. Do I want my dad to be unhappy and sacrifice that for me? Well, no, I'm not selfish like that. So he does what's best for him, and and he's moved on a couple of times since then as well. But I suppose one was with his marriage after my mum. I'm quite annoyed at him for when my brother was in VCE, and he's quite an intellect, and definitely studied way harder than I did, but I'd say that affected his sort of year 12 as well, and year 12 should be beyond the importance of the importance that everyone puts around your studies and stuff. It should be a fun year. It's got to be a great year for you and your mates, and so I suppose that sort of rubbed me up the wrong way, I suppose, but it is what it is, and my mother's an angel, and I'm very lucky to have her, and we're just we're cracking on, so it's fine, it's all good.
That is amazing. Liam, thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable with us, because I can deeply relate. I grew up, in a broken home myself. And so I can deeply relate. And my mother was a real angel. So there's no other way to describe it. Over the years, I've learned how to, add the element of forgiveness in all of this, because it's really sets me free, because it doesn't keep me in a prison, really in my own life. So over the years, I've learned how to do that. And I've also learned
it was good as a kid, because I essentially had 2 Christmases. So I go to mum's and I get Christmas presents here, and then I'd pop off to dad. So from that side of things, I was getting toys galore essentially as a child, from both sides of the family. It's a double win. So there's always every cloud has a silver lining,
Yeah. I love it when kids always find a way, to find the silver lining in whatever circumstances we're going through. That's why it's so important for us to transport ourselves back into our child selves, and then think, what would the kid Liam do? What would he think of this situation in any circumstance that we're going through? That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Liam. I guess some burning questions that I do have for you guys is, how do best friends go into business together? Both of you are best mates, right? For everyone watching, these guys are best mates, right? They've known each other since they were in school. How do best mates go into business together without wanting to kill each other? No, seriously.
See, I kind of disagree. You hear a lot about friends in business, and it's not a good idea, but they give you examples. A lot of people who say it's not good to go into a business with friends haven't been into a business with their mates. And all you hear about is that there's all this money and these two split that way. You never hear, you don't hear about the success stories of people going to business, so together as mates. So I suppose, it's like any partnership. If they were your mate or if they were a stranger, the key is to have, honest conversations, to be able to look into each other's eyes and say, you're not performing in this area, you could be better there. And if that's Tim saying it to me, that means I'm not taking it personally. I'm saying, he's coming from, I want this to work and I want to help you improve as well. So, basically pull your weight a bit more. It's not, I'm going, oh, Tim thinks I'm sucking and take it really personally. And then you waste all your energy getting angry at something that you shouldn't get angry at. So, the key is to be able to take on feedback and not take it personally, like anything.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people will be watching and going, right, I could have changed my attitude with so many different circumstances that I've been in. Because the truth is, a lot of people do have this stigma around going to business with family, going into business with friends, never let your business partner be your best friend, et cetera, because you both end up having egos or whatever, and you both want to be right, and you end up, it ends up getting messed up. So a lot of people have burnt their bridges, burnt their fingers, burnt a lot of things because they've been in business together. So hats off to both of you for the attitude that you clearly have towards each other. The growth mindset that you both have towards each other, that both of you want the best for the business.
And we're still at an early stage, so who knows what the future holds for us. But I'm pretty confident in our relationship. I speak for both of us that if there are any creases to iron out, we'll tackle it the best we can, essentially.
That's what I want to add as well, that I know that Liam very, very well, and Liam knows me very, very well. So I know what he's really bad at. And then he knows what I'm really bad at, and he knows what I'm really good at, and I know what he's really good at. So if one of us is better at something, we both know. I'm probably more creative. Liam's better at selling, and he's got that hustle and he's got that grind. So we just work with each other's strengths because we know each other so well. So it kind of it's a good recipe rather than like you can't bring up stuff with each other because you'll get salty. Well, I know what makes him salty, so I'm not going to say it. If you know what I mean, it's quite ironic because you know each other. So
that's a really good point, because I suppose maybe if we were both guns at everything, and we were, then there might be a bit more tension because we're each having an opinion. Whereas Tim is, like he said, he's more creative than me. So when he looks after design and stuff like that, I trust him to nail it, and he's doing he's doing. So, you know, like I'll put in input if I see value. If Tim thinks it's rubbish, he thinks it's rubbish, you know. So, but, you know, that's just the way it goes.
That's it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, clearly the fact that you guys know each other all the way from your childhood has paid off, because you know each other's strengths and areas of improvement, and you know how to balance each other off, really. And that honesty is so important in a relationship that's going to have longevity like this. So on that note, I guess, Tim, how do you feel, Liam? I like this crossover situation here. How do you feel that Liam went from a negotiator at a commercial real estate powerhouse like CBRE to launching a beverage product with you in 2 years?
Well, the transition was beautiful. It was perfect, because I can't negotiate whatsoever. I'll happily overpay just to get it over and done with. So already that was a great thing. But more so, you know, when people say that when you worked at McDonald's when you were 16, it was a great learning step for your future career, because had to be punctual, you had to wear a uniform, there were systems in place, etc., etc. Well, Liam's come from doing like 80 hours a week in the CBD, so I know he can do 80 hours. So if he says at 9 o'clock he can't work, I know he can, because he usually does. So he was doing these ridiculous hours. He was working with some really successful people, like very, very, very successful people. And his network was great. So he was bringing so much to the table, coming from this big real estate firm or commercial real estate firm to launching what we launched together. It was ideal. It worked really well. And again, we've known each other the whole time. So, like, you know, I knew the ins and outs of everything he was doing there. And but no, we didn't hesitate for a second to dive into it together. And I think both of our backgrounds have worked in our favors.
Well, clearly, here's a great example of, you know, taking your life experience. No life experience is ever wasted, especially if you're throwing it into business. You know, you being the sales geek right now, Liam. Sorry if the word geek didn't fit there.
That's right. That's okay. I look a bit like one now with the headphones here. I'm just playing Halo in the background, you know, so.
No, but it makes sense completely. You know, this if everyone watching, really, it's so important for us to reflect on some of our own life experiences and how we can draw from them and make use of them in business. You know, for Liam, it's a perfect fit for you, going from you know, a negotiator background, and you are a chief negotiator right now in your business. Brilliant. Yeah. Well done. And,
well, it's good because, you know, you get to, you know, when I was selling real estate, I wasn't overly passionate about the properties I'm selling at. And now I've got a product where I'm super passionate. It's my livelihood. So, you know, that means I can sell it better, essentially. That, you know, that's the way it goes, you know.
Awesome. So Liam, here's what I am challenged by, right? Recently, there's been like this massive spike in what you guys are doing with Bae Juice. Let's uncover the actual story, right?
Okay.
It's crazy to think that COVID-19 has not held you back.
No.
It seems to have catapulted you guys further, you know, in your business journey. And for everyone watching, Bae Juice is actually pure Korean pear juice. And there's purpose behind it. It helps with helping break down alcohol in the human body better. That's the colloquial way of describing it, I guess, you know, from layman's terms. And it increases the metabolic rate of alcohol in the body, which is amazing. So clearly there's a health benefit to this. So I'd love to hear, right, how on earth did you get Bae Juice on the shelves of IGA and places I think it was Foodworks as well. And most recently, I think the biggest announcement has been Dan Murphy's.
Yeah, tomorrow that is Dan Murphy's. Yeah, so we're excited about that. Yeah, so a bit of a sleepless night for us tonight, I reckon. But to answer your question, for anyone out there who wants to sell a product and thinks, an independent grocer like an IJ or Foodworks or whatever that, that facade is in whatever country you're watching in, it's pretty simple to go in and speak to the manager. You're not talking with, big businesses and people in suits who, need to get your product ticked off across all these different sort of avenues and stuff. You go in and, you speak to a manager who runs the store and, if they like your product, if they like you more so, then, there's no risk in stocking a product in any of these, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, like my pitch to these IJs, to not go in it fully, in full depth, but it's, this is the product and this is what it does. This is the value that it'll add to you. And, this is the risk, which is zero. To buy one of our boxes wholesale is $28. So, and to help that out with the COVID period, I suppose how we've grown there is that, I know times are tough. Some of these IJs were absolutely flying. Some of them were not, depending on the location they were in. But here's my product on consignment, my friend. If it doesn't sell, I'll follow you up in 2 weeks. If you've got none left, terrific. Let's buy another box. If there's not, I'll take them off your hands and I'll see you later. And it's hard to say no to that.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it's the fact that you guys didn't put too much. What I'm hearing, okay, let's strip it back, right? What I'm hearing is that there wasn't too much pressure on, like this longevity of a relationship that you were looking to have with these stores. You were just literally saying, if it works, it works. Doesn't work, doesn't work. Let's give it a go.
Great.
And we were confident. We were confident in our product. That was the main thing. Going, if you have this, we know it'll sell. It might not sell out in 2 weeks, but we know it will sell.
And the beauty of their product as well is if they have alcohol there, then I say, mate, would you like to make an extra $4 every sale minimum? Because everyone who's buying alcohol and sees this on the counter will immediately be intrigued because we've nailed the branding. It jumps at you, and there's not much like it in the market. So, and what is $4 when you're buying $50 of alcohol? That's a very small number. So it's a great value add, or as they say in the industry, a basket filler,
That's well, Tim, I know you want to add something to this, right? I feel like you're ready to go.
I'm just going through it all as well. Like I wasn't there pitching often, but when I was there, I remember it all. But another thing is it's just a natural fruit juice, and it's fun. And so many times, and I think this is a great lesson to business owners, especially. But we've complicated things so many times. When you just take a step back and you go, you know what? It's a fruit juice. It's really healthy. It's affordable. It's cool. It can help you hangover, but it's also got natural health benefits. We're not overcomplicating. It is what it is. It's better than a sugar-fueled orange juice anyway. But it does have some really, really special health benefits that we think your clients and your customers will really appreciate. So it's just simplifying things. Definitely helped us for sure. And just with our messages, with pitching big retailers, smaller retailers, it's just we've kind of finally figured out our why and who it's for and what we can offer. So it was a cool experience learning that. And that's why it was so special that, well, especially Liam, but, we're both so hands-on with that process in the business because we could learn from these managers. We could learn from a few times when Liam was there, customers were buying it. So he's sitting back, just listening, going, "Oh, what's this? Is there any alcohol in it? No. Oh, well, what else is in it? How does it help?" And we're getting all this information all the time. So it's just amazing that independent store to store. Liam's got some great relationships there where they text him saying, "Hey, come refill. Let's get some extra this time." Everyone's loving it. So the relationships and learning and just that pitch was a great step for us in our business.
And to add to that, finally, you also learn along the way what how to make it easier to sell your product in. How can you make it as easy for the manager or the the guy or the girl who's stocking the shelves, so that, you know, it's more, you know, attractive for them to have your product. So, you know, we were going in originally and we had just the boxes and nowhere to stand it. So then we thought, oh, we'll get a box that you can put on the counter, and then that became a bit more labor for us. And so now all the new product we've got in is all shelf-ready packaging, so they could just take it, they rip the top off, and they can put it on the fridge, on the counter, on the shelves.
That is brilliant. I think problem solving for you know, these stores, I guess, instead of just dumping it on them and expecting them to sort of deal with the side issues that they have to face when it comes to, you know, how these products, this amazing product is actually showcased for customers walking through is so important, especially when you're in the early stages. I wouldn't say that you guys are early stages. For a lot of people, you guys are far ahead of some people who are in the retail side of things, right, when it comes to food and beverage. So, you know, I do want to uncover how this social media sort of explosion kind of happened, because anything that is a physical product, especially when it comes to food and drink, Instagram is amazing for it, right? And for any business owner out there who can somewhat relate to, you know, the kind of product that you guys are putting on the market, how do you go from selling like coffee from your background and, you know, beautiful pastry maybe at your cafe to like selling 20,000 units of Korean pear juice? Seriously, I know that there was like testing and experimentation involved. Like you literally had to get the product in people's hands. So what was that like? Liam, did you want to take this away?
Yeah, I can take it away. I suppose it's funny you say that, but I think PR has helped us a lot along the way, and hats off to Tim for driving a lot of that. Oh. But so PR, you know, we had a couple of you know, that sort of helped us with our growth online. And, you know, it's funny you say social media, and it's something that we just, you know, well, I think we're, you know, I'll jump in if you think I'm wrong here, but Tim, I think we're quite a way off nailing our not our content, but our following essentially on social media. So, you know, to hear someone like yourself say that, you know, it's going well is very flattering, but also positive in the sense that, you know, I think there's an enormous amount of growth for us to have in that space.
Yeah. Since Liam gave you credit, Tim, clearly for the PR job that you are doing. Okay, so that actually uncovers a little bit of a deeper, uncomfortable truth that a lot of business owners have. Very few people actually do build great relationships with people that can give them great PR. So, you know, I've noticed as soon as you Google either of your names, or if you Google Bae Juice, the first 5 things that pop up is pretty much all the articles that people have written of you guys. So how did that happen?
So my biggest belief is our story, our brand is good content. I go on news.com and you just read rubbish. You go on, you know, you read the Herald Sun, you're 3 pages in and you're like, who put this together? This is appalling. So, you know, so people aren't very good at finding and sourcing good content. So we were pretty confident straight away, and we actually invested some money in getting some videography done when we were in Korea with the manufacturing, and we were in the countryside of Korea. So we really believed that making our story authentic was very important, because me and Liam, we don't buy big brands because there's a big hot shot behind it. We like the behind the scenes stuff. So we said, okay, if we like that, I'm sure there's other 25-year-olds out there, or 23 at the time, that sort of appreciate the same values. So a lot of backstory, me and Liam best friends, Sumi, my girlfriend, you know, we all discovered it. We all built it and grew it and decided, you know what, we're going to throw everything at this business idea. And when we started pitching people, they're like, this is a great story. This is a great content. This is a new product. So we had a lot of advantages in pitching these medias. They've never heard of this product. They've never heard of the health benefits. Korea is still unfamiliar territory a little bit. You know, there's Korean barbecue. There's North Korea. Where's your girlfriend from? North Korea or South Korea? Like South Korea. You know, it's never ending. And I probably did it in our first date as well. But, you know, so there's so many cool things about our story and our product. It's like, where do we start? And then when we were pitching some really cool lifestyle media, that was awesome. And then me and Liam started doing Q&As with Inside FMCG and more industry-related media, and that gave us a whole nother reach again. And all of a sudden, we got amazing distributors and warehousing logistics companies messaging us saying, great product, great concept, we'd love to help you. And we're actually working with tons of people that were actually leads from industry-related articles rather than your glitz and glam Daily Mail. So we have a lot of value in different media, not just your fancy stuff, if you could say that. But yeah, we're confident in our story, confident in our product. And then me and Liam love to say it was just a numbers game. It was sitting on LinkedIn, messaging 100 people, 5 replying, and then you get 2 articles. And, you know, one of them might have been pedestrian, one of them might have been drinks trade. And all of a sudden you got leads, you got website traffic, sales converting, and people tagging you and stuff. So it was kind of just that hustle. Yeah, you know, like, and I don't like to use such a cliche word all the time, but, you know, it was the hustle. It was, hey, you know, this is a cool opportunity.
Hey, here's what I see, though. Here's what I see, though, okay? And this is what the show is all about, right? It's about owning your real story. And a lot of people try to soup up their engines by, you know, painting a picture that's not the truth. You know, there's to say that, oh, you know, I didn't really come from a certain background. I came from this flashy background or whatever, right? So you guys were matter of fact with every detail in your story, and you just shared it, and people were like, oh my God, this is starkly different from what you usually hear. And the product has never been heard of before. It is genuinely, when I first read up about Bae Juice, it is genuinely different. I'll give you guys that.
Thanks, that's good.
Doesn't exist anywhere else, as far as I know. And that's incredible. And so just owning your story has so much power to set you up for success from the very beginning. And I love that you're honest also about the numbers game. And I know that Liam, am I right in guessing that Liam is the numbers guy? No? Or is it you?
None of us are the numbers guys. We're both terrible.
Okay. We're owning that part of it. Okay.
But yeah, it's a numbers game. It works with everything. If you want to get articles, then you got to message 100 journos to get one. You know, if you want to get into 10 IGAs, well, you need to go and visit 150. So, you know, it's with everything, absolutely with everything.
I think just one thing, one of my favorite things, it just happened the other day, and someone asked me and Liam, it's so cool that you're in 60 stores. Who do I message so I can get into all of them at once?
Yeah.
That's what they asked us. And we said, that's not exactly how it works. Speak to Liam, he'd probably be offended because he had to drive to every 60 store, get their numbers, get their contacts, and follow up. You know, it is a process, and it's a difficult, time-consuming one. But if it's your baby and your product and your brand, it's not so difficult. But it was amazing for someone to, you know, people are starting to ask us, how do they shortcut that first stage to get where we are, which is still not in a crazy profitable world. You know, we're just starting to get some brand awareness and some shelf space. But yeah, it was quite amazing for people to ask us, how can I get in the Daily Mail? How can I get this? How can I get into 100 stores overnight? But, you know, you must ask, it doesn't work like that. And me and Liam work full time.
This is a real example of try again. And I think it's a reality check for a lot of business
100%,
owners.
that's the word.
It's a reality check for a lot of business owners, you know, who think that, you know, they can be one-shot wonders, sort of like just give it a go and then they're overnight successes. And that's the reality on the ground, is that it takes a hell of a lot of passion, hell of a lot of hard work, hell of a lot of, you know, purpose that clearly fuels the fire that both of you have been able to utilize and just sort of propel yourselves forward despite the sleepless nights and despite the lack of time. You've made time. So I commend both of you for you know, pushing on and actually setting an example and just sharing the truth. I think we could repurpose this piece of content and just go ballistic on
I love it
on LinkedIn. But we've got a question here from someone who has joined in on the show. Liam, this one's for you. From one is, so Liam, relationships are one of the biggest reasons for success and growth. Are you still authentic to each other when you are going on vacation together? I'm like,
we haven't been. Well, here's the thing. If you want to start a business, you've got to say goodbye to vacations for a while. You know, it's hard to do. But it's not just vacations. We're authentic each day and every day with each other. So particularly after a couple of drinks as well, we sort of start to get deep and I suppose reevaluate. And that's being authentic is not just looking after each other and stuff like that. It's like we said, being honest with each other, and if we feel we're going off on the wrong track, can we get together? Can we discuss? Can we review what our goals are, and then take off again from there? And sometimes we sit down and we might be in a little bit of a lull, and we talk about how great our product is, and then we go, geez, this is an absolute winner. We should be in every store in every country. So and then it's just bang, we're off again. It's like day one. So. I hope that answers the question.
We're in it together. We're in it together. If one of us gets on a holiday, I'll be spewing if you go on holiday.
Yeah.
I want to go on a holiday.
Well, there's nothing. We got no money to go on holiday, so got no cash to go on holiday unless someone wants to provide us with some. And we're in COVID now, so I think it's a while before we're going anywhere apart from our own suburbs.
That is the truth.
Yeah.
That really is the truth. That I think you guys will take a little while before any of us really go on a holiday. But it's good to be cooped up when you're building a business. It's good to be cooped up in COVID-19 when you're building a business.
Yeah,
really,
and Tim lives about 3 doors down from me, so that's fine.
For the last 15 years.
Yeah, literally.
That is hilarious. All right, so. On that wonderful note, I think it is time for guess what? Guess what, guys? What time is it for?
Rapid fire, surely.
Rapid fire.
I still don't know what it is. Some of it's
lucky I've got my Call of Duty headphones on, so.
That is hilarious. Let me ask you guys something, right? Do you guys feel like you're ready for this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, off the cuff is where we're the best.
To everyone watching, do you guys think that they're ready for this?
Hopefully we're going to say a lot of no's.
So. Yeah. Well, on that note, let's do this, all right? Rapid fire round. If you do have a curveball question, I will throw it in towards the end. We'll definitely try and make some time if there are any comments coming through with some questions. But here we go, okay? We'll alternate. This is how we're going to do it. We'll alternate between Tim and Liam and keep going through each question like that. All right? So
cool.
Over to you, Tim. If you could talk in your sleep, what would you say?
I would just start thinking of new ideas that were terrible.
Okay, Liam, what is the first thing you do when you get up in the morning?
I've got a little basketball hoop in my bedroom, and I have to shoot something through that before I leave. So I've already ticked off something for the day. That's the honest truth. Yeah.
Wow.
I can't leave the room until I've sunk a basket. So sometimes if it's a morning after a night out, I can spend about half an hour trying to get one in.
Wow. Talk about being an action man, right? Have to do something off the list.
Thank you.
What is your favorite movie quote, if you have one, Tim?
I don't know. Stay classy, San Diego.
Yeah.
You stay classy, San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay, good one. Really, really good one. So, Liam, what would you do on Mars for fun?
I don't know. Yeah, I want to kick a soccer ball up in the air like they do in the Wallace and Gromit episode, and it doesn't come back down to him. I'd like to try that. I don't know if anyone's seen Wallace and Gromit, but I have.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to have to look that one up.
Yeah. Worth a watch.
Tim, what is your favorite joke?
Oh, jeez. That's pretty tricky.
You're getting all the tough ones.
Well, some of them are pretty rude as well. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you. I don't have a favorite joke, or I could not think of one right now.
Okay, no worries. We'll give you a pass. We'll give you a pass, all right? So,
thank you.
You just gave Liam a win on this one. So,
yeah,
Liam, if you could get yourself anything, what would you get?
I don't know. A nice steak. I like my food, so that's semi-achievable. But yeah, I don't know. Supposedly, fast car, nice car. I don't know, nice car. I'd like to buy my mum a house.
Oh, that's
There you go.
You started with steak, so you
if
got
I
to
were
steak.
to trade fast
Yeah,
car
yeah,
and get
yeah.
my mum a house, I would.
But if someone puts a
get my
nice
mum
porterhouse in front of me, sorry, mum, you know, I'm gonna.
Okay, Tim, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
What would you do with your 15 minutes of fame? Ironic.
Or I'd just wear a Bae Juice t-shirt, a Bae Juice headband, Bae Juice sunglasses, and just like plug the brand for 15 minutes. And or if I got it, or maybe the cafe quickly as well, or just try to use it as promotional as possible. And then hopefully we become famous again from being that guy who plugged Bae Juice and became famous from making Bae Juice famous from being famous.
Okay. Tick, tick.
That'll work.
All right, Liam. Where would you go if you were invisible?
Oh, geez, I'd have so much fun if I was invisible. To be honest, you know what I want to do if I'm invisible? I want to go into the city and just pull people's pants down.
Okay.
I was thinking it. You just said it.
Hey, rapid fire. There's no censors, is there? I don't know.
No,
That's the game. That's the game.
That's the game. That's all right. It came out of your mouth now. Too late.
Hey, for no other purpose, it's just to make everyone else laugh, by the way, not because I'm a sicko.
Yes.
Just clarify that. Thank you.
I'm so glad, Liam. Thank you for clarifying that. So, Tim, this is the last one, last and final. Here we go. What is your favorite flavor of beans?
Oh, of beans. Are there more than one flavor of beans? Well, here we go. Considering I love plugging my businesses at Benny and Me Cafe on 25 Rose Street, we have beautiful Napoli flavored beans with your big breakfast.
There you go.
See,
it's a big breakfast as well.
Napoli beans.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so on that amazing note, well done, guys, for getting through rapid fire round. We've got, I think, someone here. Heidi says could see this working with delivery brands. I don't know whether that's a thought you guys want to comment on before we close the show.
Touchy subject, because we were working with Deliveroo and they still haven't paid their invoice today, and it was about 6 months ago. So they just pulled us off their site, put it back on, they sold it, and we haven't seen any money, and we don't know where any of our stock is. So we had a very bad experience with Deliveroo. Sorry to throw you under the bus there, Deliveroo, but that's what happens when you mess with small business.
Particularly when they love to plug how much they support small businesses. You know, we've got another story there.
Yeah, so that was disappointing. But we're definitely an impulse buy. That's why we worked so hard on our retail. So it was it was a lot of fun working with get Bae Juice delivered within 30 minutes, because you might have already gone out or you might have already left the store. So it was good fun. So it's definitely food for thought. So thanks for that, Heidi. That's a good idea.
Yeah, well, it's always good to give things a go. And if there's anything about your story, it is the fact that you guys have really done some trial and error. And that's literally the sum up of your entire story. Commend you both, honestly, for just giving things a go. You know, and never ever stopping, you know, letting some, I guess, challenges and obstacles and just maybe you know, taking the wrong path to really stop you guys from going for gold. So that's just my perspective on just hearing your story and the fact that, you know, a lot of business owners really just give up and quit because they've hit a roadblock or had some challenges, and you know, they're afraid to try new things. But you guys just continuously just try different things over and over, and some have worked, some haven't. And the ones that worked, that have just propelled you forward, and you've just kept doing that. That's phenomenal. So, is that how
Thank you? No, for sure. Oh, just to add on that, there's been times, and I think this is really great, not advice, but, you know, just a thought, and that's, there were stages where we knew this is where people stop. When we didn't have any more money between us, and we started having to borrow money, when we didn't understand logistics and it was quite frightening with the customs and freight and everything, we knew exactly when people pulled out and quit. Because we felt that moment. I remember where I was. I remember I was at my old house I was renting with mum and dad. around the corner from here. And I remember sitting there going, I don't know if I want to continue pursuing this because I need to borrow 10 grand off dad. We've just wasted the resources we've just had. How far does this keep going? So we've both had their moments there going, well, now that we've identified this is where people quit, if we go a little bit harder, this is how people succeed. And we kind of understood that recipe pretty early. We bow out now or we go. And we just decided to go. And it's been exhausting. It's stressful. I not only is my business partner Liam, but my business partner is Sumin, my girlfriend. We struggle to have our balance with going on dates and sharing time together. It is difficult. I've got a family business at the cafe, juggling that and giving my energy to that because they're trying so hard there. I can't give 50%. So for people listening, it's difficult. It's tiring. It's exhausting. But when me and Liam have got our arm around each other and we're drinking a whiskey because we just got the Dan's announcement, you can't beat it. You just can't beat it. It really is that good a feeling. And even when Liam goes and gets one IGA, we're texting each other going, yes, like jackpot, this is awesome. I'll put it up on the website. You put it on Instagram. Here's all these details. Let's update our database. So it's exhausting, challenging, but when you got someone like a best mate to share the small wins, it's sweet. It's really nice. And Sumin as well, we're a trio. So it's challenging but satisfying. So that's my sign up, I guess.
Well done. I know you guys have really had each other's back. Any final comments, Liam, to that?
I see Heidi down the bottom there has said, I'm sure other delivery platforms could assist Dan Murphy to help with that. We're actually in the top 5 percentile for non-alcoholic products sold on the Dan Murphy's online platform. So thanks for your suggestion. And maybe jump on and buy some. That'd be awesome.
Legend,
Good stuff. Good stuff, you guys.
No, thanks very much for having us. It's been very enjoyable, and I really like the rapid fire. I don't know how much I'm going to regret with the answer I made for what I do with invisibility. Let's hope. Some people out there going, geez, I hope he never becomes invisible, but I think that's pretty, we're pretty sure that won't ever happen. But thanks for having us. It's you're a real go-getter, and we've loved chatting to you.
100%. It's been awesome.
A real pleasure, guys. And it's been an honor also to finish season 1 of FoundAStory with both of you.
Do you want to finish on a cliffhanger or for season 2 or where they go?
Well, see, the thing is, right, that we're with the show. I just want to share with everyone. I am literally collecting gold stories, not because I just want to sort of keep it all to myself, but because I want to actually share it with the world. I literally want to make a difference by sharing lessons that you guys have learned. Amazing entrepreneurs like you guys have learned from your own lives, from your own mistakes, from your own, ups and downs, and making a difference to other people's lives, right? So the reason why I'm ending it on, with a particular season and reopening it again with a new season is because I want to repurpose all of the amazing gold that I'm mining through the show and share it with the world. And so it's obviously it takes a little bit of reflection. I'm also going to do a live show where I go through my own learnings from every single story and share that as gold as well, in terms of just uncovering what it takes to really share one story and being a benefit to people. So if anyone, watching this show really wants to tune back in to FoundAStory, we are coming back with a new season of this show, and we will be uncovering a completely different perspective of storytelling when it comes to entrepreneurship, based on everything that I've heard from so many amazing entrepreneurs from Australia and also from my own life. So I'll be sharing a whole bunch of tips and tricks, whole bunch of value add sort of perspectives on storytelling when it comes to benefiting entrepreneurs and building brands that actually have a purpose and actually can drive so much value for what it is you're doing in business. So I'm fully grateful to have these amazing guests, and to everyone who tuned in. Thank you so much, guys. Season 2 will be coming soon. So on that note, I shall bid you goodbye and good night from all of us here in Melbourne, and to everyone, I guess, tuning in from Uganda or Malaysia or India or the US, wherever it is. Thank you for tuning in. We really, really appreciate you guys. Thanks, Liam. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks. Well done. Congrats. Great first season. Good stuff. Thanks heaps.
See you guys.